It's also important that you gain your network first before you jump into the entrepreneurial arena. Hey guys, if this is something that you want to do with me, then I will resign from my work. And then that's when my dad fell off his chair. So we call it a sibling run business. It was really our decision to work together. I remember that we were sitting in Matt's restaurant. The manager wanted to kick us out because he thought it was a scam. My turning point in my life would be my wife. When I told her that I want to do this, are you going to support me? We were on a plane and we were in Singapore, stopover. And I was waiting for her. She came back with a book. And she put a dedication there saying that I'm excited to be part of the next journey of Paolo. And here's to you to make an impact and a dent in the world.
End of 2019, where was AIDE at? And then how was your 2020 like?
Whoa. So 2019, we were busy. Okay, going back. There are a lot of mistakes that happened. I would say I'm an expert of mistakes. But we really tried to learn from it quickly so we could just get going. In 2019, I was so busy fundraising again, to the point that I forgot to execute the business. So our numbers were just, going up and down, wasn't really consistent. We were also busy. Well, I was also busy trying to build the organization, trying to find the right people to come and join us. And that was also very difficult, trying to find the right people. I would say today we have the best people today, but it had to take so much pain because I will use this word, we right-sized the business in 2020. True enough, that would be my darkest moment. And this all happened the day before the lockdown, pretty much the day before the pandemic. Yeah, intense. I mean, we could have a version 2 of this down the road, right? But just to share with you, it was very challenging. And I think just a teaser, another fundraising activity collapsed.
Okay.
1 week before signing. I worked on it for 8 months and it collapsed. And without extra funding, you had to go into defense, right? So you had to, unfortunately, cut some jobs. That would be my darkest moment. And I really blamed myself for it. And we did that, and then the pandemic happened. And the lockdown happened. And when the lockdown happened, I saw our numbers started to grow 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. And it gave me even more hope and energy to, shucks, this is it. This is a tailwind for us. So we just got to make sure that we're able to deliver. And imagine, even the people that were let go still continued to work with us because they believed in the mission. And that even gave us so much spirit, so much passion to get this going. And I can really say that we gave it our all in 2020. And I'm so happy that we were able to make the Filipino people better because of AIDE. And we were also able to create jobs for the doctors. So 2020 was a great painful year. So 2021, we're even more excited.
Talking about 2020, I mean, how were you? I mean, you said that you saw sort of requests come in like multifold, right? Like a huge increase and spikes in like business. How were you able to kind of keep up with that, even just, in terms of operations did you have enough doctors and nurses to keep up with the demand, and how did you manage that? Or did you have to pivot your model and execution? Like how did you guys do that, and to do it quickly enough, right, to provide as much support to the people as you could.
The supply wasn't an issue. We had a lot of doctors in the app. It was
Oh,
more
that's
of
good
the
to hear.
services. Yeah, it was more of the services that we can offer during the pandemic. Pre-pandemic, our top 80% would be nursing care and blood work at home. When the
Okay.
pandemic happened, those two fell.
Mm.
And we really, and I told the team, it's let's throw that business model out and let's focus on what the country needs today. I really believe during uncertain times, you just need to focus your heart, energy, soul, and mind on those things that will create an impact. And so we said we have to build that e-consultation in the app so people can chat with a doctor and get their prescription. So that was the first step of the tech. Number two, we said, let's go study this COVID testing at home because we have the doctors that can do it. And we did. And true enough, we had the antibody testing at home first, then we had antigen, and then we had PCR tests. And then these doctors were saying, even the doctors were also helping us, saying that we could give vaccines too, like flu vaccines, pneumonia vaccines, when they do the COVID testing. So there's a lot of cross-selling, upselling, and a huge pivot. So we had that e-consultation, COVID testing at home, vaccinations, and still doctor house call. So it was a huge transition. Our pre-pandemic focus was totally different, and we're just so glad that we were able to pivot quickly to these services in 2020. Until today, they would still be our top services, but nursing care and blood work are growing back. And the best part was that we didn't spend in marketing 2020. We grew based on word of mouth. And so we believe that for as long as we provide fast quality service to our customers, they will continue to share aid to their friends and family. And that will create more revenue for us and lesser cost to acquire these customers. So that's what happened 2020. And I'm happy to share we became positive, cash positive.
Yay!
Yay! Congratulations.
So that was like the biggest win, right? So if you ask
That's
me, I mean,
amazing.
yeah, it's I think all I wanted to hit was actually to be sustainable in all levels, sustainable in terms of profit, and also sustainable with my people. At least they have jobs. We help the Filipino people. We help the doctors get work. So for me, that's a complete success. Um, Again, 2021 is another picture. We can do
Yeah.
version 3 of our interview.
No, but I mean, maybe you can give us like a preview, like where do you see AIDE in the future? Are you thinking of, growing regionally, expanding to Asia? What's next for you
um,
guys?
I think it's difficult for health tech really. In each country has their own issues in terms of
Mm-hmm.
tech, in terms of health. So I can't say that aid will be great in Singapore or aid will be great in other countries because they're pretty much efficient in that end. Um, I want to be successful here in the Philippines, and I want it to be nationwide, and I want to provide it to the entire Filipinos, not only in a certain uh, society class or certain area in the country. So that is my big vision. And for us to get there, we need to actually get to bigger supply of doctors to come on board, and that network effect will actually create more users in those areas. So we plan to do Cebu, Davao, Iloilo, provinces, get people to sponsor medical care through the app, so it's affordable for other Filipinos. Um, because of the pandemic, now people's minds all about getting healthcare through technology or having it come to their home instead of them going to the hospital because they could get the virus when they get there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that is a strong value proposition for us, and we will continue with our thesis in bringing healthcare to your home. and that's gonna last for. I believe that's gonna last for a very long time.
I don't know if you have or how much time you have outside of AIDE, but if you if you do, are there any other initiatives or causes that you're working on right now?
I'm 200% in aid.
In aid.
Yeah, so there's just so much to do.
You eat, breathe, and sleep AIDE.
Exactly. Or you try to do some like work-life balance stuff. Yes, I lift some weights in between Zoom calls. But the best part about the day is that I'm with my family. My kids are
Yeah.
also taking their Zoom classes with me here. My wife is doing her Zoom calls in the other room. We're all growing and journeying together, and for me, it's a great feeling too. So it's not like I'm completely out and and working full time in the office. In fact, we closed the office. We're all working full time at home.
Wow.
Yeah,
How big is AIDE right now in terms of headcount? Like how many
Head,
people do you have working remotely across the
sure.
Philippines?
So there's for the employees, they're about 25. For the doctors, they're about 3,000.
Wow.
For the users, we're dealing with 300,000
Oh, wow.
and growing each day. But the beauty with technology is that it's limitless, right? And
Right.
for as long as you create something efficient and productive, it can handle the connection from the doctors, the users.
Mm-hmm.
So from us, 25 people, we see it in the back just to make sure that things are being delivered, are fulfilled, customers are happy. If they're not, we take in that feedback into heart and really try to improve our services because of that. Um, but yeah, so that's where we are today, and our mindset today is really to be profitable, to be in a profitable state because we're not sure when the next fundraising can happen because of this pandemic. And number two, to conserve our energy. One thing I've learned throughout this journey is that it's a marathon and not a sprint.
Mm-hmm.
You have to conserve your energy um, and mind to actually take it further throughout the this aid life, if I may say, because it can take another 5 years of me growing white hair. I didn't have white hair before, guys. When I left corporate, this was all black.
Actually though, like you said that it's a marathon and not a sprint. With regard to that, sort of looking outside of your personal journey, if you were to kind of go back 5 years, like what would have helped you as a startup, grow and expand, kind of get going, make it easier for you?
Maybe realizing earlier on that it's a marathon and not a sprint. That would be something that I would tell my young self before. Hey, Pao, conserve your energy. Don't be too excited. Conserve cash. Relax. You're gonna burn so much for the next 4 or 5 years. Um, for the startup ecosystem, when we started, they were also starting, which was great. That was when the pitching contest started to grow. We were part of that journey with them, and now it's big, it's huge, and I now they consider me as a mentor to these new startups. Um, but I know it's really just becoming one rather than um, when I say becoming one, it's growing that mindset that you need to embrace this difficult path that's going to happen. Admittedly, when I started, I was just excited. I was just so excited to be my own boss, have my own time, work with the people who I want to work with. And reality kicked in quickly. And I had to find a bigger purpose or bigger why to get me further going in this journey. True enough, where we are today is that it's just to be straightforward, there's no other choice but forward. I can't go back. There's no option but to move forward. And you know, I believe that we're doing something very right today.
A follow-up to that though is, you had mentioned hiring and the difficulties of hiring. Like, so yes, there are like the founders, like the startup industry, but of course these startups need to hire people. So where is the Philippines at in terms of providing the skills that startups need?
So when you say startup, it involves a lot of technology.
Yeah.
When we started, it was so hard to find developers, though they all claim that they're developers.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm not a dev person, but I could see if something is not up to standard, right?
Yeah.
So that was a difficulty early on. But today, at least there's a lot of schools and courses that they promote coding, developing UI, UX experiences. So that's great today. But
Mhm.
in the past, we all struggled. We all struggled with it. That's why version 1, version 2 was really a mess. It was just like a game. Um, that's on the tech side. But on the mindset side, the schools here, the big schools here are promoting a great growth mindset, which we also need in the startup. When I say that, it's that, you know, these people want to make a difference. They want to learn, and they want to be part of the journey. So that's how we hire these people to come over. In fact, we present ourselves as family. It's a sibling-run the business, and we respect each other. And and we always try to go towards the character side because we believe everyone is smart, everyone's talented. All we're looking for are people with um, a great personality and great character to take this on further with us.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, but it's still a very challenging part. Hiring the right people is very challenging. Now, and second, also keeping them is also very challenging, right? So there's other
Yeah.
startups out there that are actually giving out better compensation, better packages, and you could never compete with that. So that's a problem.
Do you see any gaps with, hires or skill gap? I mean, I'm asking this because at PhilDev we do have scholarship programs and we do training. So it's like, good research for us too to understand like different needs in the industry.
So we still need to catch up in terms of skill sets for our devs. That's one. Number two, those very skilled developers are being pirated by big tech companies
Mm,
here. So we
yeah.
end up losing them too. I mean, um, and and it sucks, right? You look for your chief tech officer, then after a few months, the big companies here offered him 3 times the compensation, and you can't really blame the guy. Um, um, so in other words, what we need are more skilled developers. And hopefully in the future, we also have more skilled and leadership type of developers that can actually be CTOs in their own right. Um, I noticed also with these developers, it's just so difficult to communicate with them. It's
What
just,
what do you mean? Like
it's
too
just,
techy?
eh, um, you try to say a joke, you won't even laugh, right? So okay, so when the other people are laughing, the departments are laughing, yeah. But when it comes to developers, they're all with their headset and they're just looking at the screen. You know, but they're very skilled. They're very skilled at what they do. And what I keep telling my team is that we need to find skilled people that can teach. You
Mm,
know, when if they could teach their skills, then we probably found the right people. Um, but we won't force them to teach. If they don't want to teach, fine. You could stay in that corner. Just do it very well. Yeah. So at the end, we want to create leaders, right? Leaders from these people.
Looking back now, Paolo, like what advice would you give um to a new entrepreneur or startup jumping off and looking to get their idea off the ground?
I would tell the guys that it's a marathon and not a sprint. It's all about commitment. things won't happen the first few years, but if you stay long enough, something great will happen. So it's very important to conserve your energy, move fast, and the least expensive way to get there, to get your traction going. And at the same time, be with the right people that can actually influence you or can actually be your inspiration throughout this journey, because it's going to be very tough. So that would be my big advice to these young guys.
All right, so we're gonna do some fun rapid fire questions for you. First question. Name your number one bucket list item, either something you've never done that you would want to try.
Go to Egypt.
Oh, really?
Okay.
I just read a book about Egypt, so I'm like super into hieroglyphs, and so that's super cool.
When I'm stressed, I just watch ancient aliens and those Egypt pyramids and how they're built. So I really want to go there. I think I'm part of that family. So I I want to see that.
Awesome. Okay.
Okay. Next question. Describe yourself in 3 words.
Funny, loves to drink.
What is your drink?
I drink anything. Whiskey, wine, beer, and a family man. There you go.
Okay, if you
Family man holding a beer.
Balance.
Name your vice or guilty pleasure, although maybe you just answered that.
Oh, alcohol. Alcohol. Put anything in front of me.
Now we know.
Yeah, next time Julia and I are in Manila and we're allowed to see each other, we'll definitely
have a
have to
drink.
go out for a drink.
Fantastic.
Favorite Filipino food?
Oh, nothing comes to mind.
Okay, this or that. Sinigang or adobo?
Adobo.
Okay.
Japanese food. There you go.
Okay.
Japanese food.
Are you a morning person or night owl?
I'm a morning guy.
Oh,
I wake up at 4, 5, sometimes 3. Depends on the stress.
Last one.
Yeah.
Name your superpower.
My wife says that I could read people well. I think that's my superpower.
Nice.
As a CEO, I think that's very important.
That's super important. Yes, absolutely.
That's my
Awesome.
superpower. So I'm reading you guys.
I know. I was like, oh my God.
Well, on that note, thank you so much, Paolo, for joining us on our story with PhilDev. I mean, we're super excited about AIDE, and we hope and wish you continued growth and success with the company. But yeah, Julia, I don't know if you have any other.
Well, I just hope we'll keep in touch, it was so nice to hear your story. It was so nice to be inspired, and I hope our audience will also be inspired by this.
Thank you so much. You guys made my morning.
No,
And,
same.
and like what I said, I'm happy to join any event. So
Yeah.
I'll always join it. Thanks for having me, guys. Really appreciate this.
All the
Thank
best,
you.
Paolo. Thank you.